Good morning here, YouTube people, and happy Thursday. It's my brother-in-law's birthday today. Happy birthday to the greatest guy that I've met in a long time. Anyways, I want to come to you with another video, and we're just going to keep on with the same kind of topics. And this has everything to do with Yeshua also. Okay, so what is the meaning of Christian? Christian means to be Christ-like, okay? In John 14:12, he says that many will do or should do as I have done, and even greater works than that. But as I think back, I've seen a couple of miracles happen, a few healings here and there, but nothing spectacular. Like, I've never seen anybody take a couple of fish and a loaf of bread and turn it into feeding 5,000 people. I've never seen anybody walk on water. I've never seen anybody in a ship that has other people in it that are afraid to sink and look out at the water and say, "Be still," and it's still. I've never seen anybody turn water into wine. I've never seen any of these things. I have seen demons delivered, and I have helped in demons being delivered from people. However, I've never seen any of these other things happen. And he said even greater works, because he was not going to be there much longer. So we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, why have I not contributed to the works of my Father? Well, the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the Romans and many of his people, they were afraid of him. And even today, in our day society right here, we would also have people afraid of us if we started to do some of the things that he did, and even greater than that. And why is that? Because people have painted that as being like witchery, you know, people. And maybe even back during that day when they burned witches and things like that, maybe some of them were actually doing as my Father did, but people got afraid of it. And so they burned them at the stake because they felt like they were doing witchery. And, you know, I got to thinking about that over and over again. My Father has given all of us, even people that right at this moment in time do not know who he is. But it's up to you and how to use them. If you use them to the badness, then you just become one of his adversaries as far as he's concerned. And he will also take those powers away from you. So I got to thinking about that over and over and over again. Why? Why do people not do it today? Is it something wrong? Is it something that's not built within us, that we don't have that understanding? Could be. See, that is what happened with Solomon. He asked for wisdom, and next thing you know, his whole kingdom started falling. Why? Because he took it to the bad side. It became really dark. But he had the wisdom, right? So he knew what he was doing, but he was using it to the bad side of things. If you read his word, it sounds beautiful. It really does, and it teaches us what to do and what not to do. But like I said, he fell to the wayside because he started using his power to the bad side. But you know, it's all over my father's word. I mean, they were at the ocean talking about paying taxes, and he said, find the fish with the gold in it and pay your taxes and my taxes. You know, when do we look for a fish to have swallowed any kind of gold? But he knew even what fish it was that he was trying to get to pay the taxes for. So if we can do greater works, because he said we could even move mountains if we have the faith. If we have the faith of a mustard seed so small, even with the littlest bit of wind, it will blow like a mile from here. That's how small it is. And you know, people in today's day and time, we get scared of that when we hear about it. Like, really? I don't know that. I didn't know that. Yes, this is why if my father was to come back right at this moment, how many people on this planet have actually done what he's ever said that we should do? Not a lot. You know, I've been in plenty of church establishments, the buildings, because we are the church, but in establishments, and the men go in there and they fold their hands and they fidget around, and the women go in there and cross their legs and they turn their ear towards the pastor that's saying whatever. Maybe they learned a little something here or there, but I'm quite sure if you're like my mom's age, let's just say, and she's been going to church since she's 20-something, okay? There's probably not a whole lot of subjects that she has not heard as far as the word is concerned. So you kind of lose the grasp on certain things, because there's certain things that the pastors do not talk about. They don't want to bring up certain topics that will become a debate within the church. So they have a certain, let's just say, list of things that they go through and talk about. And each one deals with whatever type of church it is, you know. I had a word to give one of the congregations that I had gone to, and I went to the pastor of the church and I told him, and you know what he said to me? I can't do that. I have a schedule from that particular type of church that I have to follow. So I was disappointed about that after he said what he said. And that is the point in time where we went over the same old thing as far as I'm concerned. Will a man rob God? And we went over that. That is what he taught that particular day. So he was scheduled to talk about that, yet and still that subject came up like 4 times. We talked about that 4 times that particular year. Why do you keep pounding on that particular subject? But we had to. And nobody was supposed to speak up and say, well, didn't we hear this 4 times already this year? Nope. Nobody said anything. We just went through that whole thing again. And I'll go through that some other time, but it was because Aaron's tribe did not belong to Abraham, and he was telling Abraham's tribes to actually give 10% towards Aaron's tribe. And so that is why they wrote that in the Bible. Anywho, because we weren't supposed to be under that. That is something that has been pressed upon us for so long. But my father said, you know, he never talked about tithes when it came to us. What did he talk about? He said, even a cup of water you give to these people, so have you done to myself. Okay, and he also spoke about blessings or offerings to certain things. Now, I don't have a problem giving an offering to a church, not at all, because I understand, and so do you, or so should you, that the church establishment could not produce the lights and this and that, the cost that it takes to run a building if you did not contribute to that. But there wouldn't be all that extra money given to them so that they could go out and squander it, because that is exactly what a lot of them do. You know, I remember back in the day, Kenneth Copeland, he had money, but he didn't have the type of money that he does in this day and age. And why is that? Because he constantly goes at people. Creflo Dollar, the names go on and on and on and on. And that's all they ever do, is try to preach on you giving them money. And then they go around saying, well, look at how blessed I am. I just bought a brand new jet airplane and this and that. I got 4 other ones, and I got 100,000 suits that are worth $1,500 a piece, and I got this kind of car and that kind of car and this kind of car, you know. But they're getting money off of you, and where are you? You're sitting in a little dinky 3-bedroom home with a Toyota car that is barely hanging on, and they're expecting you to continually give them money. And there's so many stories. I could go on and on and on about this, but that isn't how you want to live. Now, I've told you before, I've been homeless, okay? That is who we should be helping. There are some homeless people out here that cannot be helped. And you should know the difference, okay? Okay, so say they're drug addicts. You don't want to hand a drug addict money. You don't. So what you do is you get together with other like-minded people, and you put your monies, if you don't have a whole lot of money, you put your monies together and you pay for a place for them to live. You put your monies together and you get them drug rehab, help. Put them right into a group of people that you know, because you checked it out, that they actually have a successful rate of helping drug addict people out here. You know, that type of stuff. Don't direct your 10% into giving it to the church so that the pastor can become rich off of you, basically. I mean, that's how they do it. And they do it with no kind of nothing in their heart about it. They continue to tell you, give. That isn't how we do it. It isn't. And me being at one time being a homeless person, you know, I couldn't get help from certain church establishments, especially these ones that are on TV. They would not help. Why? Because they're worried about their own thing. You got $2 and $3 million homes, blah, blah, blah. And they brag about it right on TV. Like, yeah, I got this and I got that. But it's not for us to judge them, and I'm not doing so. I'm just saying that they will have their turn. They will. But yeah, you have to help the true needy people. And this is why my father went out into the streets with the prostitutes and tax collectors and things like this, because they were the ones that actually needed help, and they were the only logical ones to actually listen to what he had to say. All these uppity people, oh no, you're talking wrong about this. No, I'm not. No, I am not. And there's a lot of them out here. Trust me, there is. But they become complacent within the church. We go to church because that's what we're compelled to do. Yeah, okay. But what are you doing to help? What are you doing to help the situation? Are you actually helping anybody out here? I was talking to my mom the other day. Well, not the other day. It's been a few months ago. But I was asking her about giving to people, because I didn't feel like she was as giving as she said she is. So I did not know that. But she does give to people that panhandle and things like that. So they're going to say something totally different, and that's not how it should be. Anyways, I want you to know that I love you. I love you right there. Love yourself. Love my Father God, and by all means, love each other, people. Until the next time, love, peace, and soul.